Hello and welcome to Escape from Mount Backlog. This week we'll be looking at the incredible adventures of Van Helsing, as voted by you guys. The incredible adventures of Van Helsing. You know what, I'm just going to say Van Helsing from now on, because Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing is one hell of a mouthful. Is an isometric ARPG in the same vein as Diablo 2 on the surface. It was developed and self-published by Neocore Games, a game studio based in Budapest, Hungary. It uses their proprietary game engine and was released in 2013. Before release, Neocore announced that it was only the first part of a planned trilogy. They had an immense amount of faith in this game, but was it misplaced? Let's take a bit of a deeper dive into the world of Borgova. The game's art design really helps to sell this alt fantasy steampunk setting. Most of the game takes place within the city of Borgovia, with towering megastructures and fire-filled furnaces. The enemies also reflect this philosophy, from the mechanical men or Dreadknecht and abominable fusions of flesh and machine like the strongmen. And of course, this having at least one foot in European folklore, you will see werewolves, Vojonoi, which are fishmen, and ghosts, and occasional vampires. I mean, Van Helsing is in the title, of course there'll be at least one vampire. I like how it progresses from rural forest through swamp to a megacity. It really strengthens the idea that this rapid expansion and advancement in technology ruined the natural order of the local ecosystem, causing the monsters to become more violent towards humans. This is great environmental storytelling, which only falters towards the end of Act 3 when you reach Old Town, an idyllic part of the city complete with untouched parks and sunlight. The reason it fails for me is that a couple of overturned carts doesn't translate to a city under siege, for me at least. Not when all the buildings seem intact. Oh, and on a personal note, as you can see with these kinds of games, if there's a damage counter option, I switch it on. The gameplay is exactly what you would expect from this type of game. A billion clicks a minute, hordes of enemies and numbers flying everywhere. So far, so standard. As with many games, all of them in this subgenre, you get swarmed with enemies from early on, meaning that unless you're an expert at this type of crowd control, you're going to want to invest in area of effect skills and attacks. And to its credit, Van Helsing does seem to promote players to go into AoE attacks, as each class's first unlockable skill happens to be an AoE or multiple target attack. In terms of skill progression, it's very much in the Diablo 2 style, in that your overall character level determines which skills you can unlock, provided you have at least 1 point in the previous skill on the tree. The main difference being that while many of these games initially ship with multiple classes included, this game launched with only the Hunter class, with 2 more that were added post-launch as DLC, which I think was one of this game's great pitfalls upon release. I mean, you're not giving players a choice here, you're forcing them, or rather were forcing them at launch to play as what you wanted them to play as, and that's just not on. Oh, you do have a ghost pal that follows you around like a pet. Back in Torchlight 2, functionally the same, but she banters with you, so that's a thing. What was I saying? Oh, at launch you basically had only 2 options, either a melee or a ranged focused character. And I know this is a divisive point within the greater fan base, but I genuinely prefer respawning enemies in previously completed areas. This game doesn't do that. And some of you may ask, but why is that a problem? And the answer is simple. Farming. Not the agricultural kind, but farming for items. When enemies respawn, you have time to grind out an extra level before you progress, and can always go back to farm for specific items to complete a set or to find uniques. And that's one of the most satisfying feelings, for me at least. Grinding away at an area and finally getting that unique sword you read about in the wiki. But no, unless you get one shot, one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted. Mom's spaghetti. Oh, non-respawning enemies is one of the cardinal sins an ARPG can commit, in my opinion. To Van Helsing's credit though, once you hit level 27, you unlock challenge dungeons that can be run multiple times to get your farming fix. But that's not enough for me. I want to be able to do it in-game while I'm progressing. I don't want to go to another game mode just to farm items for the main game mode. That makes no sense to me. There is also a form of New Game Plus in the Endless Story mode, where after you hit the level cap, which is only 30 by the way, you can continue through the story and earn glory levels. These glory levels earn you points to unlock permanent bonuses like increased damage or elemental resistances. I understand why they did this, because allegedly you can import your character to Van Helsing 2 and retain your levels. They wanted everyone to start on a level playing field, level 30. But seriously, asking for that type of commitment from a new untested IP is insane. I mean, personally, I have no intention of buying the second or third game unless it's on a deep discount, at which point my animal brain takes over and I just buy whatever. You know, it's not like I hate this game. I want to love it. In fact, here's a first. Split the screen. There it is. Let's pro-con this thing and see where we land. Pro. Difficulty. Even on normal, the game provides a challenge. You can't just steamroll through it. Con? This means you never get that feeling of being totally OP and breaking the game like with Diablo 2. Oridon, anyone? Pro. Rock solid performance, even with multiple enemies and effects going on screen, at least on my rig. Con? The combat doesn't have good audiovisual feedback. The hits don't feel right. Pro. The characters, especially the banter between Van Helsing and your ghost pal, Katarina. Con. The story is very straightforward. A mad scientist has taken control of the city, kill the mad scientist. Con. I can't farm to my heart's content. Con. Level 30 cap. Really? Con. No mods. No mods. Diablo 2 has mods. Grim Dawn has them. Torchlight 2 even has Team Workshop integration. Modding keeps these kinds of games alive. Pro. Large maps. Con. Oh, those maps don't change. They're fixed, lowering replay value. Pro. Atmospheric as all hell. Great look and music. Con. I didn't find it fun. And that's the nail in the coffin for me. It's not fun. These games live and die on their fun and replayability, and this game fails on those two key points for me. There were some good ideas, but the execution was lacking. I hope the studio improved with the other two games, and continue to. Their next game is based in the 40k universe. Something Inquisitor, Martyr. It's also an isometric ARPG, and that has my interest peaked purely because of the 40k license. But honestly, I can't recommend Van Helsing to anyone. If you want a grimdark, stylistic, atmospheric as all hell ARPG with deep systems and very satisfying combat, just go play any of the... No, you know what? Just go play Path of Exile. That one's even free to play, and it's got tons of content. And that'll just about wrap up this episode of Escape from Mount Backlog. Have you played The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing? Have you played the sequels? Tell me in the comments below. I really want to know if they actually got better. And as always, don't forget to like and share this video, and subscribe if you haven't already. And tune in next time when we play something completely different.